YouTube, what's up, family? You already know the name. Pays and Plays Podcast. You already know. It is Good Friday, September 15th, 2023. Throw it back with a little throwback for you guys right here. You already know New York Jets, Keyshawn Johnson. We do the swoosh. We don't do three strikes. No. But hope all is well with everybody. You already know what this is. Pretty much the best bets for the weekend. This is what I do every Friday. If you haven't already, please check the week 2 NFL picks. I have that whole breakdown, and we'll talk about some of those picks as the best bets for today. So if you haven't already, please check into that if you want to listen to my best bets for this one. I got plenty more selections you want for the next week 2 one. Check that out. But let's get right into it. College football is not too many I like because this is kind of a shitty week. You know, it's not a lot of ranked. It's not ranked on ranked games, but we're going to talk about a few that kind of caught my eye and get from there. Let's start with number 1, Virginia Tech +7. Yes, Virginia Tech +7. I know this isn't the Frank Beamer days, but they play Rutgers, and you're giving me the Fighting Sopranos 7 points. I don't trust that. Yeah, they beat Northwestern, but hey, Northwestern did blow out UTEP not long ago too. So, you know, the roster for Rutgers isn't the best. I'm not saying the same with Virginia Tech, but I'm not saying they win. But 7 points, if we're talking like 3 points, I could probably understand that. But 7 points is a lot of points in a game like this. And the reason why I go for the +7, I mentioned this before, it can be a game-winning touchdown, right? 6 points. Extra point after that, it's a field goal. Got 7 points, unless it's like a 2-point conversion. Now you're going to have to sweat, which we hope that doesn't happen. But give me Virginia Tech +7. Next game. This is an interesting game right here. I wouldn't say it's an upset alert, but this total was very impressive and interesting to me. We're going to go with Western Kentucky University and Ohio State Buckeyes over 64 points. We know Western Kentucky can put up points, tons of points. I mean, if you look at some of their games in their conference games, there's 71, 72, 73 over under totals. So that tells you they can score. We know Ohio State, they've been struggling, 0-2 against the overs, 0-2 against the spread. You kind of wonder, are they going to wake up? But this is a perfect opponent. We know Ohio State will put up points, but with Western Kentucky, they have pretty much one of the most putrid defenses in the whole nation. But that's the benefit. That's why we're going with the over 64, because it could be a 45-30 game. And I do think Western Kentucky has a chance to cover 29.5 points if you're interested in that. I just don't know what's going on with the Ohio State team with the quarterback situation. I do think that's holding them back. I know Harrison's going to have at least 2 touchdowns. They got a great receiving core. I had to give them that. The defense is a little shaky, but they're facing a team that can put up some points. But let's say Western Kentucky doesn't have a chance. I could see at least Ohio State putting up 50 points. If they really want to, they can put up 50 points. Western Kentucky can at least get you about a good 17, 20, if that. So we're going to go with the Western Kentucky and Ohio State over 64 points. And lastly, for this one, I thought about this, and I was very unsure at first until this head coach said, when I talk to grown-ups, I take my hat off and my shades because that's what my mother taught me. Oh, shit. Colorado minus 23.5. I mean, you pissed off Dion, homie. Oh, I don't know if it was because he's jealous. He's not getting the attention. But you need to worry about your defense that gave up 54 points to Washington State. So I hope you know, he said this is personal. And you're going to Boulder. This is going to be an ESPN late night game, 10:30 game. But enough about that. They have First Take today there. You're going to have ESPN there for game day. You're going to have Big Noon there. You're going to have 60 Minutes there. Everyone's coming to this game, and the fact that you woke up another sleeping dragon to say that towards Dion and the way that he's trolling it, I think they're going to run up the score. I was worried about them having to play Oregon next week. Maybe that's a distraction, but they're going to run up the score on this team. And this is the perfect team to do it. I know to people this is new to see Colorado, 20 points, anything over, especially with Coach Prime. But if I used to mess with some of the HBCU betting lines in the South because some states were able to use those as far as HBC college lines. And trust me, Deion had 17, 20, 30-point spreads and was blowing teams out respectively. We're talking about Grambling. We're talking about Tennessee State. Just blowing them out the portions. This game is personal, he says. Last week, they said this game was personal in Nebraska. Look how that happened. 23.5 points. They're going to run up the score. I don't see a lot of Travis Hunter both sides. Maybe by fourth quarter, you might get a little, I get it. I'm saying fourth quarter come, they may take out all the starters, but this is personal, like he says. So I expect the over 23.5 points scored. Go ahead, Colorado. Let's get it. Now let's go ahead and get to the NFL, the main gridiron. I guess since I got on the Jets jersey, we might as well start with the Jets. Jets plus 9.5. A lot of points. I mentioned it, why I'm so important with it. The Jets defense is probably going to be top 3. I mean, they look like a top 3 unit from what I saw. Zach Wilson, you have concerns, absolutely. The offensive line is a concern, so you have to worry about Parsons. That's really the main guy you have to worry about, Parsons and Lawrence. If you can worry about them two, I think you'd rather get rid of Parsons because he's coming out the edge. But this is like I said, man, the defense is going to keep this game intact and close. I don't trust the Cowboys with a minus 9.5 anything. Yes, they blow out the Giants, and that is probably an overreaction, but I mean, a lot of fluke shit happened that game. A lot of defensive touchdowns, block field goals, block punts, stuff that sometimes you just can't make up. And the weather was bad. Well, this is a controlled environment. This is a Jerry world. We will definitely see the Jets defense show out. Let's go Jets plus 9.5. Give me that. Next game, Kansas City minus 3 taking on Jacksonville. This is the bounce back game for the Chiefs. This has to be the bounce back game. I mean, it's pretty much to what I was referring to. Mahomes saying he was embarrassed and we got to get better. Yeah, they will get better in this game. Chris Jones is back. Expect Kelsey will be back. He definitely will be back. So that is kind of a distraction. And the perfect way to actually beat the Jaguars is passing the ball. If you can pass the ball against the Jaguars, the secondary is very suspect. And I mentioned about the Jags offensive line. So Chris Jones, Karlaftis, and I think the guy named was Smith, the guy that played for Michigan for like 1 year. I expect those guys to step up. McDuffie is a hell of a corner. We know about Calvin Ridley. I know he's pretty solid. He's back to how he was, but I think the defense played pretty good for the Chiefs. I expected this week too as well. So KC minus 3. Offense steps up. This is the bounce back game. Next game, Bengals minus 3 against the Ravens. Kind of a similar factor with the Chiefs. I don't expect Joe Burrow to ever go for 30 attempts and only have 80 yards. I don't expect it. You're already playing against the Ravens with a banged up running backs. We don't even know if Andrews is going to be playing. We don't know because I didn't expect him not to play week 1. Humphreys, you have questions if he plays, but if he does play, I always mention he's a slot corner. He's not an outside corner, which they put him in. That's really what I'm wondering. I respect Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, but I have questions on that secondary. Who's going to handle T. Higgins? Who's going to handle Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase? I mean, and Mixon didn't have a bad game against the Browns. I know it was a blowout, but if they mix a little bit with the run with it too, I expect this Bengals team to bounce back. Home game as well too. Why not? Bengals minus 3. Another game, and I'm glad I got this game early because the lines have shifted towards their favor. Texans on the money line, I got it at plus 102. Now I believe they're a slight favorite. I think they're probably like minus 124, probably from what I just checked. A lot of injuries had just came up with the Colts, so which is why I got it early. Texans, I don't know if Petrie will be playing, but I mean, Stingley is solid. But the thing I look at is the front seven. The front seven is a lot more faster than last year. I mean, last year, Texans defense, you were able to run on them. You were able to dog walk this team, but it's not so easy. Like I said, they lost 25-9 to Baltimore, but I was pretty much on the offensive side, not able to score a touchdown. They were pretty much a touchdown away from covering the 10-point spread, as I mentioned. But home game, D'Amico Ryans is not tolerating this. He understands the division rival game, how this is as being a former Texan playing against the Colts. I like what AR has done, but his receiver corps is just bad. And you don't have a running back. So, I mean, I think it'll be a defensive game. I would nudge my nose if you're interested in the under and the total, because I do think it would be a smash mouth game. But the Texans have a better run game in this scenario, and that's what I'm looking at. So give me the Texans on the money line plus 102. But if you like it as a favorite, I would nudge my nose at that as well. So we're going to go ahead and give you the teaser. This has been a thing, and we're going to keep it as a thing because why not? We got the San Francisco 49ers. We use 7 points. We're going to tease that from -7 down to 0. The New York Jets from +9.5 up to 16.5. The Raiders, I do like the Raiders to cover. So from the 8.5 up to +15.5. And then you have the Cincinnati Bengals from -3 to +4. Okay. That's my teaser for the week. We were one short last week because of the Steelers not making it close, which is, but just some dog shit, but it is what it is. But if you are interested in a running back prop, I told you about this Wednesday when I made my picks. Derrick Henry over 85.5 rushing yards. This will be a play. We know that the Titans are a run-first team. So we're going to stick with the regiment. Run-first team against a bad run defense. And if you don't believe me, they played the same Chargers team last season. And I remember betting this, and it was at 89.5, and he had 109 yards and a touchdown. So take how you want to take with that. I still see the Chargers struggling defensively on the run, but Derrick Henry, 85.5 yards, not bad. I got it for -115. If you like the anytime touchdown, it's -180. So I will pass on that. But I mean, I can see him getting a touchdown, but I will parlay that. If you're going to do a anytime touchdown parlay, that might be the best thing to do with that. I wouldn't singly bet that -180. But you guys, let's be safe out here. Let me know some of y'all picks if y'all interested. Comment. Let me know what y'all thinking, what y'all like, what y'all don't like. Let me know. Subscribe, like, keep commenting. Hey, man, let's have a good weekend. Let's get this money.